Whoa!
Hello, everyone. This is the GCA. I am MaltyMaldy here with my girl Jess. We are starting a new series. It's based on the Disney Renaissance and special guest right over here, green-haired anti-liberal. I will always call her Gal. Y'all can call her Gal. Just don't call her a bitch.
Unless you're Mazza.
Oh, Ma's a cunt, so doesn't matter. So, first episode in this series, we will be talking about Beauty and the Beast. Some discrepancies in the lore and theories, maybe conspiratorial, that have been floating around the internet. And Jess is going to lead us off with the topics, and I'll bring up, and then we can all talk about how we feel.
Okay, so since we're specifically talking about Beauty and the Beast, I guess what age did you see it first, and how did it impact your life growing up, and what made you really end up really liking it?
I honestly don't remember how old I was. I was probably like 8, maybe. I don't know. It was right around the time where I actually started reading. Before we started the video, I was telling Jess how my journey through reading. When I was younger, I didn't enjoy it, but once I got a certain age, I love to read, and that's one of the reasons that I just love this movie, because Belle, I identify with her so much. Not that you need to identify with everything, but she is such a book nerd, and you get that from almost moment one with her. And when I was watching this movie, it was just something that I instantly clicked with. Like the scene where she gets the library. Seriously?
Oh my God.
If I could find me a man that builds me a library like that. It was just instant connection with when she's sliding across in the library in town. It's just, I adore her. She's very smart, but at the same time, she is feminine and she can't do everything. So she's not this girl boss, but technically, she saves herself. So don't even get me started with Frozen when they advertise that crap that, first Disney princess to save herself. No. No. First of all, Belle, and then Mulan. But
Wow.
So it was just I loved it. It's a beautifully shot film, animated film. And yeah, it was just instantly one of my favorites. Definitely top tier.
Well, I think every boy had a crush on Belle, and if you didn't, then you're gay. So actually, the first Disney princess that I really liked was Aurora from Sleeping Beauty. But then when I was old enough to actually pay attention to more of the storyline and not just looking at the dragon at the end, I always gravitated towards Beauty and the Beast, not only for the songwriting, but also for Belle and the transition that Beast goes through.
Mm-hmm.
He actually learns a lesson. Oh my gosh. Disney movies used to teach people lessons, and ones that were applicable to all human beings, things that we've all gone through in our lives and how we need to change our character.
Mm-hmm. I think I was about the same age as you, Gal, when I first saw Beauty and the Beast. I might have been a bit younger, but I think it was about the same time. And since I always like to read, I just liked her instantly. I was like, "Oh yeah, me too,
girl. Yep,
that's my girl right there." And obviously, you like the music because it's just it was really good. Just all the songs just really fit well within everything, and I also just like the story because it's here's this beast who, I mean, his story is pretty tragic. Mm-hmm. Well, at first you just think he's a spoiled rotten guy, obviously being royalty. He's gonna kind of be that way, especially in that time period. Well, any time period really. But and then he turns into this beast when he's like, God, how old is he? He's pretty young, I think, when he turns into the beast. And like he's sitting there just thinking like he's just gonna die this way, and then but then he ends up meeting Belle, and he kind of starts regaining some humanity in him, and it's just, I don't know, I really like that aspect where he kind of starts becoming more human again instead of so animalistic, because of how he's been for so long, being alone and just having his servants around him.
Right. And honestly, like when he was first turned, I enjoy his journey essentially, because he was, like you said, just this spoiled prince, you know, pampered his whole life and everything, and doesn't have any humility and sympathy or empathy towards the old crone. And he's just so vain. She turns him, and he doesn't learn any lesson from that for a very long time.
Takes him a while.
He just becomes bitter. So he's still just the worst human characteristics that we all have deep down somewhere throughout our lives. He's just going through this journey, and I love that it shows, you know, when you find like your person, your soulmate, whatever it may be, like you can learn to be better and you can grow together.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I always saw that. Even when I was young, it was just, when you find that person, you become better.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
It's
someone that helps you reconnect with your soul.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
And none of us are perfect. And that's why it's such a good thing to find someone who can just make you better and compliment you.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's a good life lesson, I feel like.
It was a very good life lesson.
Yeah.
That it taught. I think so. Well, how about we get into our favorite characters, aside from the ones that we basically said already? Is there any others that we like in particular?
Belle cannot be your answer. You have to think of someone else.
I know, that's why I said anybody else in particular, because you know, we already kind of said.
I feel like another obvious one, but I'm gonna say it anyway, is Lumiere and Cogsworth.
Oh,
like their dynamic is just like best friends, but like
bickering
they butt
brothers.
heads. Yeah. It's like a sibling rivalry. That's a good way to do it. And like they're total opposite personalities, but they essentially like help each other like make sure that the beast is not upset, and they like keep things running smoothly as possible, at least. But they also don't know how to get him out of his funk, let's say.
Yes.
Until they meet Belle and they realize, oh, she could be the one. And then they all get to know her and everything. So I love the dynamic between those two characters, especially. But I don't know. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I like those guys too. I like those guys too, but I do like Mrs. Potts. Maybe it's because I'm kind of motherly too, so I kind of am like, oh, I like Mrs. Potts because she's just like, oh, you little, oh dears, just it's so, you know, she's just really motherly, and I like that.
And Chip's awesome too.
Yeah, Chip is cute. Although I will say, I'm like, how did this older woman have this little young boy like that?
I questioned that too, because she's like grandma.
Did she adopt him, or is it really? Is it because you want to think it's a grandma and it'd be like her grandson, but he says mama, so I'm like,
yeah.
Or maybe she did adopt him. I don't know.
It's possible.
Yeah.
My favorite's Lumiere.
Yeah.
Not only because, not because he's a ladies' man, but like you can tell that he gets along with a lot more people. He's very
He's more
chatty.
personable.
Yeah.
Yet at the same time, he's always making sure that business is taken care of, and you can see that he has a heart. He cares about Beast. He cares about everyone else. He just also wants to get, fluffed by the duster.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
He's very carefree, and sometimes it's basically just like a front. Like you can tell that he is calculating, like in a good way, like figuring things out, analyzing things, but in his way. And Cogsworth is not the same type of personality. I feel like it's kind of like introvert versus extrovert between the two of them.
Yeah, and that's what makes it such a good dynamic, the opposites.
Yeah.
Cogsworth is way more by the books, and Lumiere is a lot more like me, where I'm just like, I care about everyone, but I put on this front where I like just make jokes about everything. That way people don't have to feel sad or like, don't take this the wrong way. Like, let's all laugh. It's easier that way.
Right. And that's kind of like a commentary on life in general. But if you look at their situation, it sucks. Like they're cursed. The entire castle is cursed because of this jackass that, sorry.
Well,
you can edit that out, but yeah, so they're all cursed because of this young prince who doesn't care about anybody but himself, and the situation sucks. So if you don't make of life what you want it to be and make it lighthearted and create laughter where you need it, it's going to be depressing and no one's going to be motivated to do anything. And you just can't live life that way. And it's a nice way to just look at life in general. Whenever you're on hard times, it's okay to laugh and make it lighthearted to help yourself get through it. Because if you're essentially black-pilled through life, you're not really going to get out of that rut. You have to be able to move on from those things. And Lumiere is a great personality to help people get through that. Some people might not appreciate it, but deep down they might appreciate it and just don't know how to show it, like Cogsworth.
You can start whenever.
Well, okay. We're going to get into the spicy stuff. All right. Gaston versus the Beast in terms of affection for Belle. Who's better?
Who's better? Obviously the Beast, and anyone who disagrees is ridiculous and just trying to troll.
Just saying.
Check this thing out.
Here we go, guys.
By the way, let's look on the ones on the right side. Who you picking? I hope you can see my cursor. We're all picking her.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. Although I did like Rapunzel, I'm not going to lie.
I did as well. And Jasmine.
Yeah.
They're my top three.
I was Jasmine for Halloween one year when I was a wee one.
Nice.
Even though I'm a blonde girl.
That's what wigs are great for.
I actually didn't wear a wig. Isn't that funny?
So, Jess, do you want to read this out or do you want me to?
Well, if you would make it a little bigger, I could.
Good gracious. I'm going to boomer this so badly. Okay, so Jess, do you want me to read it or can you read it now?
Well, how about you start and then I'll go from there, I guess.
All right, Gaston versus the Beast. Who's really the villain? Posted by Megara Rider, so they're a fan of Hercules. So the similarities: Gaston, vain, selfish, and doesn't really care about anyone else, versus Beast. Spoiled, selfish, cursed for not having any love in his heart. Those are kind of synonymous.
Yeah.
Gaston doesn't have any love in his heart.
Right.
Yep, he has lust in his heart.
That's it.
And in his pants.
Oh.
Those pee pants that Jay was trying to buy weren't pee pants. They were Gaston's cum pants. Okay, sorry. Back on topic. Gaston only wants Belle because she's beautiful versus Beast only wants Belle because she's the first girl who comes along since the curse. I think we have
disingenuous.
Yeah.
I think we have large debates about that one specifically.
Right. Like from moment one of meeting her, he respects her because she just volunteers to replace her dad, like, and isn't scared of him.
I mean, like she kind of is at first, but she's like, all right, I got to compose myself. And then she's like, all right, she's like, I'm going to take his place. And then he's like, well, what? He's really like,
right.
Oh my God.
And Gaston doesn't only want Belle because she's beautiful. He wants Belle because she doesn't throw herself at him. He's
Yeah,
had all the rest of the chicks in
Yeah, the
town.
challenge of it.
it's a challenge for him, a new challenge for
Yeah.
him.
Which that isn't necessarily bad. Like, I don't hate Gaston. He just, like, I've mentioned this before. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here, but if he had like a continuation story, like you don't actually see him die, like it's an off-screen death where he goes through a redemption, I would be okay with that.
I would too, quite honestly.
Because he has potential technically.
Yeah.
Everyone has potential for good.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, let's do our comparisons here. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, you're good, Gall. Oh gosh, where were we?
Gaston locks up Belle and her father versus Beast locks up Maurice and keeps Belle prisoner.
This is also disingenuous. Gaston locks up Belle and her father for one reason, because he becomes bloodthirsty over her.
Yeah, to force her to marry him, because he's like, what else is gonna this will be it, because she loves her father, so I'm gonna use him to get to her. It's like, oh, that's really smart. Use your potential future father-in-law to get to the chick. Okay, yeah, all right, real smart.
And people like to argue that no, he's protecting the village because they're both crazy. And I'm like, no, that's you projecting onto it. Like from your mind's eye. Like, he doesn't do anything to really actually state that. Everything he does is steps to manipulate her to becoming his wife.
Yeah.
That's all that he shows. And the people that make that argument are just they're projecting that onto him because that's what they, I feel like, want to troll, like, where it's, I don't know, like, it bothers me because, and I technically, on the one hand, it could be that, but it's never shown as such.
Yeah, and I think one thing that isn't mentioned is, I think that with the curse, like, I think that the villagers kind of forgot about the castle and everything. Because how could you ignore a castle that's, pretty close by you? I think a part of the curse is they just forgot about any prince and all that. So that, of course, they're just going to be like, a beast in the castle? What are you talking about?
Right.
So I
think there's some magic. There's definitely magic involved with that. And then that's why it's kind of off the map. And on all roads leading towards it are ominous and scary. So, like, people just
avoided them.
Feel led not to go that way.
Yeah.
Because you see Philippe whenever Maurice is trying to go that way, he's like, I'm reading the map. It says this is closer. Mm-hmm. And you can even see Philippe that one is a dark path and one is like a light and shaded path.
Yeah.
But also, Gaston, when he locks up Maurice, he goes behind the scenes in the tavern late at night with the owner of the asylum and pays him under the table. Mm-hmm. And he says, it's despicable. I love it.
Yeah.
It's literally stated that it's despicable.
Whoever made this list kind of bothers me because Gaston locks up Belle and her father, and then Beast locks up Maurice and keeps Belle prisoner. Like, it's saying the same exact thing, but saying it differently.
Well, Belle also trades her prisoner status for her dad.
Yeah.
And then how long is Belle a prisoner? Not long at all.
Yeah, well, and she doesn't, and he ends up moving her to a bedroom where she's gonna be more comfortable. So technically he doesn't keep her in the dungeon.
Right.
So she really does not become like a prisoner.
She gets her own bedroom with her own maid and like the little cabinet that like will dress her and like offers her food to come to dinner every night.
Yeah.
Actual dinner, not like gruel that he was probably feeding Maurice.
Right.
Yeah, really.
You can already see the soft spot developing.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Jess, if you want to take over differences, let's see how stupid this is.
Okay. Gaston, relatively level-headed, acts more out of jealousy than anger, versus Beast, quick temper, yells a lot for no reason, destroys things. Well, if you were a beast and you were locked in that body, I think you'd be pretty mad.
I love how
Yells
she,
for no
like,
reason. Your entire life and humanity has been taken away because you're a selfish little prick.
Yeah.
right. And saying that he's relatively level-headed, you mean manipulative and calculating?
Yeah, completely.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, he doesn't
Gaston.
have the Irish temperament. Cool. That's not necessarily like worse. just because you have a temper. He never raises a hand. Well, I guess technically, well, he doesn't raise a hand to her. He doesn't actually hit her. Whatever. Like,
Yeah, he doesn't hit her. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, he gets mad, but like he never strikes her. He never
Right.
went like, you know, he never smacked
Exactly.
her upside the head.
What
And-
is level-headed about planning and paying for an entire wedding ceremony before you even propose to the woman?
I mean, it's delusional.
Yeah,
Exactly.
just thinking, oh, look at me, I'm handsome, so she'll marry
Mhm.
me anyway because I'm handsome. Oh, yeah,
Right.
okay, buddy.
Right.
And even before she calls Gaston conceited, when her father in the beginning was asking her, so what do you think about that Gaston? And she goes, oh, Papa, he's not for me, and all he's conceited and da da da. Like no way. It's like she
Yeah.
don't want anything to do with him.
I also feel like she has her own journey of like learning as well, because like it showed their similarities, they're not that far off. And she just learns throughout her journey to love those aspects and help him get past it. But Gaston's are just so gross to me.
Well, I think what it really comes down to is that Beast was willing to change. Like you know how when you meet folks and you can tell their vibe, whether they come off as abrasive at first, but you know that there's a good person underneath that.
Yeah.
I think she felt that with Beast, and Gaston just didn't want to, surrender his ego.
He doesn't want to
Right.
change.
Yeah, and he was given opportunities. Like, she tried to talk to him, and every interaction that they had, he just never listened, and he talked over her, and like he talked down to her about her interests. Like, he doesn't care about her. He cares about how he would look with her.
Yeah. And then like sits down, like bursts into the house and sits down, kicks his muddy boots off, and then talks about how, she's going to birth him a bunch of sons.
Yeah.
That play in front of the fire with the dogs. It's like, oh, okay, you're totally not respecting her at all.
Right.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with having cute little babies, but with how
Right.
he put it, it was just like
it should be a joint effort, a mutual understanding, not just I'm going to plan her life for her without her acknowledgement or knowledge on the fact.
Well, yeah, that's the whole point. Like with husband and wife, you're supposed to plan stuff together.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. He's very brutish about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very Andrew Tate about it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God.
Fuck
oh Lord.
That's not how I treat people, and I'm not saying the way that I do is always correct, but I just don't agree with that kind of philosophy.
Right.
Well, you have to have respect, you trust and respect. You can't just force people to do things just because you want them to,
Well, and even when he falls to his death or his presumed death, he, up to that exact moment, like they had found each other, Belle and the Beast, and for like essentially gave him an out, forgave him, were letting him go. And he was scared for his life. But the moment that they showed that tiny bit of weakness in his eyes, he was going to exploit the opportunity. And that's like, he got himself killed essentially because of that, because of his ego and his inability to see that he might be wrong or might need to be a better person. Like, they gave him grace, but he refused to do the same.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Sheer fucking hubris.
Yeah.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes. Very much so.
And then this kind of leads pretty well into the next topic. If you are ready, Jess, or if you have anything else to say.
No, I'm good. We can get going. How about we get into Belle being perceived as this entitled girl?
Who says that?
Some might say a bitch.
I don't know
like she's stuck up or something?
Yeah.
We're gonna read this. We're virgin eyes on this.
Wow,
We
this is
just
gonna be
know about the
something.
Lord.
Belle's the bitch.
But this is actually the name of the article.
Wow, where'd you find this?
It's Writing the Magic. I don't know.
Interesting.
Y'all should see the link up here somewhere.
Okay.
Writingthemagic.wordpress.
Okay. All right. Let's
So, Jess, let me know when you want me to screen down, and you can feel free to, or Gall if you want to read.
I don't mind.
Go ahead.
Okay, so Belle is a bitch and Gaston's all right. That's poor writing. Whatever. Beauty and the Beast's character problems. As I mentioned in my Beauty and the Beast rewatch post, if you start to look too hard at the story, things really fall apart. This is doubly true for the characters. Growing up, my godfather would relentlessly tease me about how Gaston was the hero. He would say,
relentlessly.
Okay.
This is interesting. I even filled that in. Holy crap. He would sing, "I want a guy like Gaston," horribly off key. He would go on and on and on about how Gaston was noble and the Beast was awful and deserved to die. Wow. Okay. As a smarty pants 6-year-old, I would correct him and tell him that no, Gaston was the villain. However, as I grew up, I started to think maybe Uncle Bob wasn't so wrong.
Oh my gosh.
Our perceptions of Beauty and the Beast's character roles are established by tone and the placement of the character. Beast is the first person we're introduced to. We are told that he's a prince. Oh, all princes are obviously heroes in disguise, and our hero has a problem. And the scene ends with the words, "For who could ever learn to love a beast?" ringing in our ears. Cut to Belle exiting her house. The answer to the question left from the narrator is answered visually by a beautiful girl asking for a better life. This means that when we met Gaston, the audience is forced to associate him as an antagonist. Belle must end up with the Beast because the story dictated it.
Let's stop there.
What nonsense is this?
Let's stop there. This is
okay.
This is someone who's in a creative writing class in their first year of college who's asked to question everything. And so they're looking for underlying terms that don't even exist. They're not looking at the spirit of the story that is being told.
Right.
They're trying to critique every single little aspect and mold it and shape it into what they want their worldview to be.
This doesn't even really make sense. Like, okay, so the placement of the characters alone is dictating how we should look at them. No, the characters themselves are. The backstory is fine. You're understanding where the Beast is coming from. And that, like Jess said earlier, it's a very tragic story. And then you cut to Belle, who is kind of carefree and just wants a better life, which is fine, especially a girl of that time in that area.
She wants an adventure. She literally sings about it. I want much more than this provincial life.
Yeah.
That's why she reads books, to escape into her fantasies. She wants adventure.
But that doesn't correlate to, oh, the moment you meet Gaston, you're forced to associate him as an antagonist. No, you're forced to just see him as another character, and you infer whatever it is that you take from what they're showing at the time. It's not, oh, well, because she's a beautiful girl and wants a better life, and the first male character we got the backstory means that, oh, automatically the next male character is the bad guy. It's not how that works.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
It's the character development that they're showing to you that tells you who the antagonist is throughout the story. And sure,
yeah, and we kind of touched on it earlier, talking about our favorite characters and how they all have their own characteristics. Right. They all have a background, the way that they interact with people and things that are happening in their world. Like, everything makes sense. It's not like it's telegraphed, because everyone goes through an arc, their own separate arc. That's good writing. That's what we're talking about with the Disney Renaissance era, is that it's so much more important than your stupid ass woke politics that you're putting into everything nowadays, because you only write what you know. And that is COVID and learning to love yourself.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, and I will bring up, I've watched behind the scenes things like the animators talking about, you know, what they did working on the characters and whatnot. And Gaston's animator was like, he had, sometimes he had this trouble with, you know, he had to make him handsome, right? But then he was the villain, so he would kind of be like, all right, I can't make him look like too evil to make it too obvious, you know. So it was like this balance of trying to make him still look handsome, but he was actually supposed to be the evil one. And I thought that was really interesting about that.
Jess, you want to take the next paragraph? I'm about done with this because I'm getting too angry.
Right. Okay.
Gaston is introduced with a gunshot and a dead bird. While there is nothing wrong with hunting, the way it's presenting sets a dark tone around Gaston's character. Oh my God.
So that is
that's bullshit.
Yeah,
it's actually a common theme in this era of, well, pretty much any Disney movie, is they are anti-hunting. So I can understand, and I did pick up on that, but that's because I grew up in Montana and hunting is a way of life out there. So
yeah.
Well, God forbid, in like what 1800s France, people want to eat meat. How else are you going to get it?
It was actually 17 in like the 1750s.
1700, 18th century. I still had 18 right.
Yeah.
Don't fact check me, Jess. Fact check me all day.
I can't help it.
I was just approximating. It's like, I just know it's before. Anyway, it's a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a lot. Like 300 some years ago, let's say. Around.
Before air conditioning was invented.
Yeah, and so technically we live a heck of a lot better than they did, than the richest person ever in those days.
We've got so much, so many pronouns. We're just living high on the hog.
Do we want to keep going or no?
I mean, technically what they say is interesting because they are so. What is it? It's a dark tone around Gaston's character. Yeah. We see Gaston step from the shadows. Characters in shadows are associated as evil. Like, there is something to be said there, but that's also a part of storytelling. Sure, you do want to think that Gaston is the antagonist. So, of course, they're going to show those things. But what exactly is wrong with that? The show don't tell? Like, that's a tool of storytelling. So I don't really understand what they're trying to get at with that.
Oh my goodness. Are y'all reading this with me?
She wanders around.
The person just stated that Belle's a bitch. Oh, what? You don't believe me?
She's not a princess, so that statement was invalid.
She became one.
Right. Through marriage, but she wanders around.
You misspelled this as well.
Better she is than everyone. How better? Wait, what? Basically singing about how much better she is than everyone else.
Their
Because
normal, perfectly good lives aren't good enough for her. I was like, that's not what her song is about. Is
fucking
that
the
she has an
wrong.
imagination. Her father is a
What?
freaking inventor, and she's good at inventing too because she knows how to help him out when she comes home and he's twinking on it.
That song
Yeah.
she's literally singing about how the townspeople treat her differently because
Yeah,
she
because
doesn't want to do what they think she should
yeah,
do.
yeah.
She
She's the
kind of
one who they kind of
rampages through
ostracize.
town. Are you? Oh, where? This is like Yo Pop's level of trolling right here.
Right.
Oh no.
She
But
f's
Belle
with
is smart
someone
because
sheep. She fucks with someone sheep. You mean the sheep that all love her when she sits down at the fountain?
oh my
They
God.
follow her around because she's special.
Do you see? Okay, but Belle is smart because she reads. Yes, and so do twihards. Like,
Oh, don't.
are you kidding me?
Oh
So what is
no,
she?
not
Is she going to be a
those.
pick me as
Oh
well?
no.
Okay, this person is nope. Again, disingenuous bullshit. Holy crap!
What's the name of that girl
Who
that
the
Brittany
heck
Vinny is
wrote
always like
this nonsense?
bitching about?
Is it Pearl?
Oh,
Pearl, yeah. It was
oh,
written by Pearl.
What
you
if the
almost think
librarian, because I
so.
refuse to call that place a bookstore, recognizes she keeps taking the same book, then while she's taken a whole lot? I'm an avid reader and I have favorite books, but I don't constantly reread. I do. Do you know how many
what's wrong
times
with
I've
reading?
reread my favorite books?
Yeah. What's wrong with reading the same book over and over? Because you just like it. There's nothing wrong with that.
Is this person expecting her to, like, the movie to show her reading a different book in every scene? That it's not
I
about,
don't know what the hell they're expecting, but I'm expecting them to transition any day now.
yeah.
Hopefully to the grave in Minecraft.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I get very heated. This is my favorite Disney movie. I get kind of heated and protective.
Now, there
Yeah.
is something to be said that, so she rarely says please or thank you, even when people are doing nice things for her. She constantly disobeys orders. Yeah, she's very headstrong because she's had to be. Like, she's shunned by the town, so all she knows is the love of her father. And the townspeople treat her like trash. Like, when you're shunned, you have to be self-sufficient. So, and like questioning everything. Like, she talks back to the beast and blames him after he saves her life because she was ran out.
Sorry,
Oh my God, no. Okay, that scene when she was helping with his wound, she had, the hot water to clean it.
Yeah.
And she was like, all right, just hold still. And then he didn't want it because it hurt. And she's like, well, just
Mhm.
stop. Well, just hold still. And then he was like, well, this wouldn't have happened if you went into the West Wing. And she's like, well, if you didn't blow up at me, then this wouldn't have happened either.
Right.
They're just
You're
having a
both
little
in the wrong.
banter, It wasn't like, oh my God.
Mm-mm.
Almost like a real thing. And he just went off for that one scene, he went off into the snowy wilderness and hand wrestled a bunch of wolves off him. He's like
fought
bloodied up.
wolves.
So
And
if you've
And
ever
they're
had
all
those kind of
out.
injuries in the cold, shit fucking burns. It
Yeah.
hurts.
yeah.
You're
And
in
she
a
does
bad
thank
mood
him.
already, and it's like,
Yeah.
well, I basically almost sacrificed myself. He collapsed in the snow
And
because
she
he
had to
almost
help him.
sacrificed his life to save her, even though she ran away. It wasn't to bring her back. It was to save her from the wolves until she could get away.
Yeah.
And she brought him back.
Yeah.
And it's like a catalyst for her to realize that she can't do everything, that she's not perfect, she's not able to protect herself in situations like that. Like, throughout this entire movie up to that point, she's very self-sufficient, she's curious, like, she thinks that she knows everything. Sure, like, that happens. Like I said earlier, no one's friggin' perfect. We all have our own flaws. Like, she has to go through a journey herself, and that's part of it. Is she gets scared, whatever. Like, she was warned not to go to that area. No one told her why, and her curiosity got the better of her, and then she gets in trouble, and he's a giant menacing character, so she runs. And then she realizes, oh shit, I shouldn't have done this. I'm about to die. And then he saves her. Like, she's going through a journey herself. And she's not perfect leading up to that, but that doesn't mean that she's entitled.
No.
Or a bitch.
Like
I don't see any part of her character that makes her feel entitled.
Yeah,
she stands up for herself. Yeah, but
maybe that's why they think so, because she's standing up for herself.
Because she has a brain. Well, that's what all the people in the town are singing about. And I was like, it's kind of weird for a girl to read. Yeah. Gaston says it too. How can you read this? There are no pictures.
Yeah, exactly.
And pretty soon they'll start reading and thinking.
And she's like, you are positively primeval. Right? Is that when she said that?
Yeah, she does say that.
And she can come off as pretentious, sure, because like she does have a higher level of understanding than like a regular townsfolk.
That's probably what it is.
And I do I've met people that are pretentious. Sometimes I can be pretentious. I correct people's grammar all the time.
Girl, me too.
Well, I don't want a fucking slave at the house. Right. I want a girl who can like match my intellect and like my wit and can hang with me.
Yeah.
Yep. This article just set me off.
Go ahead, Gall. Get it out.
Yeah, girl.
There is nothing wrong with a little pretension, especially if you're later you realize, oh, I might not have been the best person to him. Like I was treating him just like I treat everybody else. Sure. So yeah, in the beginning, she's not a great character for those types of flaws. And then she realizes as she goes along, oh, maybe I should have a little understanding and humility myself.
Yeah, because she's going through as much a character arc as he is.
Right. Understanding his plight. He isn't telling her everything. There's something obviously going on, and she can put 2 and 2 together because she does have a higher level of intelligence.
Yeah, and he kept saying, don't go to the West Wing. And of course, her curiosity is like, what's in there? I want to know what's in there. And that's why she sneaks.
And then she finds out. She's like, oh, it used to be something else. Like, he's afflicted.
Yeah.
And that's why he is that way. She understands it more because she's been reading the fantasy books about Prince Charming and all the other stuff.
Yeah.
She puts the 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
And it's totally fine for a fucking woman to be smart. They just don't know that back in that day. I mean, and that's the way the story's told too.
Right.
So I think a lot of people shouldn't judge it by today's standards because Disney was already talking about that back when they actually made good-ass movies. They didn't have to enforce the woke politics. It was just good storytelling, good character arcs, good writing.
Yep.
Good
and
writing.
excellent animation.
Yes. Oh, I cry about the good animation because Glenn Keane, man. He was the freaking amazing animator. He animated Ariel. The Beast.
He did Aladdin, Pocahontas. Oh, Pocahontas. The visuals.
I don't know if he was in Aladdin.
I looked it up.
Oh, really? I don't remember. Was he? Did he do?
I mean, it's Wikipedia that I pulled up, so take that as you will. But it does show Aladdin.
Did he animate the genie?
Let's see.
Because it seems like he would maybe, or maybe
probably would. That had to have been hard because almost all of Robin Williams' lines were ad-libbed.
Oh, I know, and they have like so much extra footage from that he's done,
So he was the supervising animator for the title characters of Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and Pocahontas.
It doesn't say which character he animated in Aladdin?
No, he was just the supervising animator, so maybe he didn't specifically handle it.
I thought he did Ariel too.
Yeah, he did. He animated Ariel. I know that for a fact. He animated the Beast. I know that for a fact because he actually went and he was looking at different animals to like come up with the Beast and whatnot. So he was looking at like he gave the Beast kind of these cow like ears, and then the face he gave him was kind of like a not like a wildebeest, but yeah,
he wildebeest.
Oh, wildebeest. No, but he just took all these various different animals and kind of like mashed them together to make the Beast. And it was really interesting, his process on that.
Oh, yep. He
That stuff
designed
is
an
very
animal.
interesting to me. I'm sorry it's a little bit off topic, but how they made the T-Rex for the original Jurassic Park. And it's
Oh.
like a mix between like a pig and a cow and
Yeah.
something else
It was
screaming.
an underwater
pig?
dolphin sound. Or maybe that was actually for the Raptors. I actually just recently watched that.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, wow.
behind the scenes.
There's like 3 or 4 different animal sounds that they just mix together,
Mhm.
and like the same stuff that Ben Burtt does with the good Star Wars, the only Star Wars that actually matters. Like, you know how you get the TIE fighter thing is they would hit like a power cable and they would hit it and then put the camera out and it makes that
It's crazy.
Okay.
sound design is awesome.
Yes.
Anyhow,
It's a lost art, I feel like. I
It
mean, who
is.
knows?
It
There
is.
might still be people doing things like that, but
Mhm.
back in the day when they actually cared about their craft.
Yeah, and they actually took time with details and all that.
Yeah.
They didn't rely
Bring
so
back
heavily
2D.
on. Yes, and they didn't rely so heavily on freaking CGI.
Oh my gosh. Like Godzilla -1. Did you watch that VFX?
No, I didn't.
I did.
How they did practical effects with their VFX because they had to save on budget and everything. It's a great video. It's like 6 minutes long.
Wow.
I'll see if I can find it and I'll send it to you. It's really cool.
Hot take. I think I've said this before. Mad Max Fury Road is a great movie.
I haven't seen it.
Tons of practical effects.
Mm.
Very minimal visual effects.
Well, I can understand that.
I know
Is that-
everyone says like, "Oh, Mad Max isn't the star of his own movie," and I was like, first of all, it's the world. Also, it totally fits with his character. He's thrust into something because the wasteland is completely crazy, and this is his adventure. He's every single bit a part of it, but it's telling it from someone else's point of view while he's there, and it's like that totally fits the narrative that's been in all the other Mad Max ones, except for the first one.
That's probably more what they're thinking about. They're just comparing it to the first. I mean, I haven't seen them, so I don't really have much of an opinion on that.
Well, I think that about wraps this up for this time. Let us know in the comments, and please like, share, and subscribe. Let us know in the comments, what do you think about 2D animation and practical effects versus all the 3D bullshit that's been everywhere? And yes, I'm kind of, shifting your vote already by calling it bullshit, but let's be real. We already know that it is. Once again, thank you so much. She's over here. Hello.
Thanks for having me.
Of
This was a lot of fun. I appreciate it. What's up?
Do you want to plug anything before you go?
Sure. Just if you go look at my channel on YouTube, I stream every Thursday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, cooking the books. If you got a book list that you can't get to, I will read it to you essentially. And I will either pick books that I've read, which currently I'm doing A Princess of Mars, and I have read that and watched John Carter. I enjoy both. But yeah, we just have a lot of fun kind of analyzing it in between chapters. So if you're interested in that, I will help you so you don't have to read them.
She also has a great voice. It's great to fall asleep to.
And that's totally like cool too. If you're just doing housework and you want to listen to it, you don't have to be there live. I just appreciate any view that I can get.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to start checking those out.
They're a lot of fun. I started with Animal Farm, so it was an intense first one.
Oh, I can imagine it was.
It was a lot of fun. So
yeah. Oh, cool.
Thanks so much, guys. This was awesome.
Yeah, of course.
It's always good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
Jess, what do you have going on besides articles all the time?
That's basically my life now, just writing articles. And if you want to read them, go to geeksandgamers.com.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for showing out. It's MaltyMaldy and Jessica Lindstrom with the GCA. Thank you once again to our beautiful guest, green-haired anti-liberal. We will catch y'all next time in the future soon. Whee!